so she devours books of all kinds. So she's done a hell of a lot in visiting schools and organizations and reading to young people and so on. That's really good as well, I think. There's a whole mass of areas. She takes a huge interest in, hospices and care of young people and elderly. So I'm very proud of her.
Imagine a moment so profound it brings a monarch to the brink of tears. Picture a castle courtyard steeped in centuries of legacy, where each stone hums with the weight of history. It was here, at Dublin Castle on a crisp spring morning in 2025, that King Charles III stood before a hushed crowd. His voice was steady, but his eyes shimmered with emotion. This wasn't a routine royal engagement. It was the day he bestowed a treasured honor upon his daughter-in-law Catherine, Princess of Wales, naming her the Sovereign of the Shamrock. The ceremony didn't just mark a new title. It became an unprecedented gesture that wove British and Irish heritage into a shared future. Palace insiders later described the moment as electric, and it's easy to see why. What unfolded in the heart of Dublin wasn't just about protocol. It was about history, healing, and Catherine stepping into a role that few could have foreseen. There is something profoundly sacred about Dublin Castle. It is more than stone and mortar, it is a symbol. For hundreds of years, it stood as the stronghold of British rule in Ireland, enduring rebellion, witnessing independence, and ultimately becoming a touchstone of reconciliation. On January 16, 1922, the castle was handed over to the Irish Provisional Government, signaling a new era in Irish sovereignty. Fast forward to 2025, and King Charles' decision to host a ceremony of such magnitude here was no accident. Charles, a frequent visitor to Ireland and a student of its complex past, understood the symbolic gravity of the location. His 1995 trip to Ireland, the first official royal visit since independence, began a delicate thaw. Now, as king, he returned to the very place where power once changed hands to offer a new gesture, one rooted not in dominion, but in dignity, healing, and respect. And at the center of it all was Catherine, stepping into an entirely new chapter. The ceremony unfolded with a quiet grandeur befitting its gravity. The upper castle yard gleamed with pageantry as Irish guards, clad in emerald tunics, lined the perimeter. Their regimental mascot, an Irish wolfhound named Seamus, stood sentinel, embodying the heart of Irish tradition. The atmosphere pulsed. With anticipation, King Charles, dignified in a sharp navy suit, accented by a shamrock pin, took to the podium. At his side stood Catherine, radiant in a tailored forest green coat dress that seemed to mirror the landscape around her. Her demeanor was a graceful blend of composure and reverence. Charles' speech, rich with emotion, paid homage to Ireland's turbulent past, Queen Elizabeth II's groundbreaking 2011 state visit, and his own enduring affection for the Irish people. And then, the moment arrived, he announced the creation of a new ceremonial title, the Sovereign of the Shamrock. As he named Catherine its first bearer, the crowd erupted into applause. But it was the silent glance exchanged between monarch and daughter-in-law that captured the essence of the day, a mutual understanding forged through respect, love, and shared responsibility. But what exactly is the Sovereign of the Shamrock? This is no ornamental title pulled from the annals of tradition. It is a newly created honor, steeped in symbolism and intention. The shamrock, emblematic of Irish identity, signifies faith, hope, and love, ideals that transcend borders. King Charles, ever the visionary, conceived this role not to assert influence, but to cultivate unity. In a gesture that blends monarchy with modern diplomacy, the title serves as a living emblem of reconciliation between Britain and Ireland. And who better to wear that mantle than Catherine? Her poise, sincerity, and enduring public favor make her the ideal bridge between two intertwined histories. During the ceremony, a delicate silver crown, shaped like a clover and adorned with emeralds, was presented, not worn, but laid before her as a symbol of this new role. Insiders revealed that the crown's design was inspired by Catherine herself, its understated elegance reflecting her quiet strength. What made this moment so extraordinary wasn't just the ceremony, it was how profoundly personal it felt. Royal events often brim with formality and distance, wrapped in centuries of protocol, but this was different. King Charles didn't simply bestow a title, he entrusted Catherine with a piece of his soul, a legacy steeped in history and emotion. Those closest to the palace say Charles has long viewed her as more than a princess. To him, she is the living heartbeat of the monarchy's future. One insider whispered, Charles knows she's the one who can carry this mantle, not just with grace, but with sincerity. And carry it she did. As Catherine stepped forward, accepting the honor with a quiet strength, her speech unfolded like a love letter to Ireland, to unity, and to the future. Her words were brief, but they echoed deeply. She spoke of her affection for Ireland, of her past visits to Galway and Dublin, and of her hope to continue the reconciliation begun by Queen Elizabeth and deepened by Charles himself. These weren't canned royal statements, they felt real. The crowd noticed, faces in the audience softened with pride, intrigue, and even awe at how fully this English princess was embracing Irish heritage. Then came the moment that stirred hearts around the world. As Charles lifted the clover-shaped crown from its velvet cushion, he hesitated just for a breath. His fingers lingered, his eyes locked with Catherine's. And in that fleeting second, watchers swear they saw his eyes well with tears. Was it pride? Was it the emotional burden of legacy? Or was it simply the raw weight of a history that had come full circle? Perhaps it was all three. Charles has long held a private, passionate connection to Ireland, from quiet retreats at Lismore Castle to his ongoing collaboration with President Michael D. Higgins at the Institute of Irish Studies. This wasn't mere pageantry, it was deeply personal. For Catherine, the moment was more than ceremonial, it was transformative. This new title might shape her legacy in ways no one could have foreseen. The image of that exchange monarch, too, Princess father-in-law to daughter-in-law, wasn't just iconic, it was historic. Etched in emotion, it marked a new chapter not only for Catherine, but for the monarchy itself. To fully understand why this ceremony resonated so deeply, you need to trace Catherine's journey. She is not just the Princess of Wales. She is a woman who has walked through the fire of scrutiny and emerged with quiet, unshakable dignity. From her early days as Kate Middleton, the university student who captured Prince William's heart, to her current role as a devoted mother of three and a global symbol of poise, Catherine has evolved into someone the world doesn't just admire, but trusts. Yet it's her humility and quiet resilience that shine most brightly. Think back to her visit to Galway in 2020, where she and William laughed with locals, unfazed by formality. Or her deeply personal work in mental health, where she doesn't just speak, she listens, she connects. These aren't just curated moments, they are windows into a woman who has made bridge building her mission. Catherine's ties to Ireland didn't begin with this ceremony, they've been years in the making. When she was appointed Colonel of the Irish Guards in 2022, it was more than symbolic. She poured her heart into the role, sending handwritten letters to the regiment heaven while undergoing cancer treatment in 2024. That determination, that unwavering sense of duty despite personal hardship, is what made her the natural choice. For the sovereign of the Shamrock, Charles, who has weathered his own health struggles, sees in her a kindred soul, one who endures, who leads, and who loves deeply. Their bond has grown stronger since the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. This ceremony felt like a public declaration of trust and inheritance, of something intangible but powerful. And Catherine didn't take it lightly. Behind the scenes, she spent months poring over Irish history, learning about the Troubles, the Good Friday Agreement, and the fragile but enduring path of peace. She met with historians, spoke to community leaders, and even practiced speaking Irish Gaelica, subtle homage to Queen Elizabeth's groundbreaking 2011 speech in Dublin, which began in the Irish tongue. For Catherine, it wasn't about flawless pronunciation. It was about humility, about honoring a culture with sincerity and care. And when she finally stood in Dublin Castle, the crowd didn't see a woman performing a role. They saw someone who had done the work, who had come not as a symbol but as a student, a partner, and a bridge to something better. You could see that preparation in every gesture, in her stance, her speech, and the way she held the crowd's gaze. This wasn't a princess reciting lines. This was Catherine claiming her space in history. The ceremony at Dublin Castle wasn't just a milestone for King Charles and Catherinette, was a moment of shared purpose for the royal family. Prince William, standing just a step behind his wife, wore pride like a second skin. Those close to them say he's always admired Catherine's quiet strength, her ability to meet each new challenge with grace. During the ceremony, their glances were full of meaning, love, pride, and an unspoken recognition of just how far their journey has taken them. William, who was appointed Great Master of the Order of the Bath in 2024, understands better than most the symbolic weight of royal honors, but this day wasn't about him, it was about Catherine. She's extraordinary, he reportedly told a friend later. She makes it look effortless, but I know how hard she's worked for this. Though Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis weren't in attendance, their presence was felt in every decision Catherine made. Her role as a mother informs every part of who she is. Insiders say she saw this honor not just as a royal responsibility, but as a teaching moment for her children, a way to show them that unity, respect, and cultural understanding matter. Picture her at home, sitting with Charlotte, explaining the symbolism of the shamrock, or laughing with Louis as they look at pictures of Seamus, the regal Irish wolfhound mascot. These quiet, private scenes anchor her, even as she assumes a role that spans nations. And for King Charles, the ceremony wasn't just about honoring the present, it was about securing the monarchy's future. By placing this symbolic trust in Catherine, he's ensuring that the connection between Britain and Ireland won't just survive, it will flourish. Guided by the woman he believes can carry it forward with dignity and heart. But the emotional reverberations of this ceremony extended far beyond the royal family. In Ireland, the event ignited a spectrum of responses from heartfelt pride to reflective hope. Many saw Catherine's embrace of Irish identity as sincere, a rare moment where diplomacy felt deeply human. Others viewed it through the lens of history, aware of the painful complexities that still linger between two entwined nations. The presence of Sinn Féin leaders who once symbolized staunch republicanism spoke volumes. Their attendance echoed a soft but powerful truth. Reconciliation is not only possible, it's already in motion. Social media lit up with images of Catherine holding the silver clover-shaped crown. Captions read like headlines from a hopeful future, a new era, the princess who understands. Even in Northern Ireland, where royal engagements are often met with resistance, the ceremony was seen as a meaningful gesture, a continuation of the healing that Queen Elizabeth began with her 2011 wreath-laying at the Garden of Remembrance. This wasn't a fleeting act of royal theater. It was a deliberate, symbolic step into new terrain for Catherine, for Charles, and for the institution they represent. As the first sovereign of the Shamrock, Catherine's role promises to reshape how we understand royal diplomacy. This isn't a title to be hidden in some palace archive. It's a living, breathing responsibility, one that will call on her to strengthen Anglo-Irish relations with the very qualities that have earned her worldwide admiration: humility, warmth, and authenticity. Picture Catherine walking through the halls of a rural Irish school, sharing stories of the Shamrock's meaning with bright-eyed children, or imagine her presiding over cultural exchanges that blend traditional Irish music with British art and literature. These won't be routine duties, they will be expressions of her personal mission. Opportunities for her to humanize history and bridge divides with kindness. Sources close to the palace say Catherine is already laying the groundwork for tours of Ireland, with confirmed stops in Belfast and Cork. She plans to meet with youth leaders, support peacebuilding projects, and deepen the relationships that this new role now demands. And with every handshake, every speech, every smile, she'll be carrying the invisible weight of that clover-shaped crown, a delicate silver symbol that may one day carry the same prestige as the Order of the Thistle Star. For King Charles, this moment was more than ceremonial, it was visionary. At 76, he understands all too well the monarchy's need to evolve in a world increasingly skeptical of its purpose. In creating the sovereign of the Shamrock and placing that honor in Catherine's hands, he isn't just reinforcing diplomatic ties with Ireland, he's making a calculated, heartfelt bet in her power to lead, to inspire, and to shape what royalty means in the modern world. The monarchy is stepping into a new chapter, and King Charles knows the power of symbols better than anyone. The clover crown, delicate yet weighty with meaning, is no mere ornament. It's a beacon, a symbol of unity, a quiet yet powerful reminder that the monarchy can bridge chasms that once felt insurmountable. And in passing it to Catherine, Charles wasn't just honoring tradition, he was laying the foundation for transformation. Palace insiders whisper that he views Catherine not merely as the future queen, but as the heart of the institution's next great evolution. Her empathy, her grace under pressure, her unwavering resilience, they offer an answer to the growing skepticism of younger generations. This ceremony wasn't just pageantry, it was prophecy, a transfer of trust not to a distant king-in-waiting, but to a woman already shaping the soul of the crown. But let's zoom out and look at the wider landscape. Catherine's new role as sovereign of the Shamrock isn't just a new title, it's a redefinition of the royal image on the world stage. In Ireland, where wounds of history still pulse beneath the surface, her appointment has sparked cautious optimism, even hope. She's being hailed online as the princess who listens. That phrase alone tells a story of someone who doesn't lead with speeches or spectacle, but with sincerity. Her meetings with Irish community leaders, conducted quietly behind the scenes, were more than protocol. They were a promise to hear, to understand, and to heal. That's the essence of her style. Less royal decree, more human touch. The kind that turns skeptics into believers, critics into admirers. In truth, the sovereign of the Shamrock is more than a title, it's a vow. It's Catherine pledging to honor Ireland's complex past, while helping to build a shared future. Charles saying he trusts the next generation with a legacy once carried by monarchs and matriarchs alike. And it's the House of Windsor acknowledging a truth long whispered but now spoken aloud. The institution must evolve to endure, it must listen, it must lead with empathy. And as Catherine takes her place in this new role, the eyes of the world are watching not just to see what she will do, but to feel what she will stir in others. The clover crown may be small, but the weight it carries is immense. Its story, much like Catherine's own, is only just beginning. Because this story isn't merely about a king, a princess, or a glittering ceremony, it's about the heartbeat behind the crown. The moment at Dublin Castle, shared between King Charles and Catherine, Princess of Wales, transcended pomp and protocol. It felt intimate, human. When Charles paused, his hand hovering above the silver crown, shaped like a shamrock, it wasn't just a monarch making history, it was a father-in-law passing on a dream. The glisten in his eye wasn't for show. It was pride, hope, and the immense, silent weight of a legacy passed from one generation to the next. And Catherine, standing tall, radiant, yet visibly moved, embodied something timeless. The quiet courage it takes to step into a role that is bigger than yourself. These are the moments when royalty becomes relatable. When the crown feels less like a symbol of hierarchy and more like a story of family, of love, duty, change, and legacy. Catherine's journey makes this even more poignant. From the quiet strength she showed during her 2024 battle with cancer, to the handwritten letters she sent to the Irish Guards. Every step she's taken has deepened the world's understanding of who she really is. Her preparation for this new role, studying Irish history, learning Gaelic phrases, meeting with historians, wasn't about appearances, it was about respect. That's why the Irish crowd responded with cheers. That's why social media flooded with admiration, and that's why even longtime skeptics paused and took notice. Because Catherine isn't performing, she's connecting. And in a fractured world, that kind of authenticity is rare and powerful. Let's not forget the historical gravity of the place. Dublin Castle, once a fortress of division, was transformed into a stage for reconciliation. Charles's decision to honor Catherine in this very place, building on the groundbreaking legacy of Queen Elizabeth's 2011 visit, signals a monarchy willing to bend without breaking. It's a testament to tradition evolving, not disappearing. To history honored, not ignored. For Ireland, it was a nod to shared destiny. For the rest of the world, it was a reminder that bridges can still be built even where walls once stood. And then there's the personal dimension, the tender, quiet thread that runs through this story like a heartbeat. William's proud glances full of admiration and deep affection. The thought of Catherine explaining the significance of the shamrock to Charlotte and Louis, turning an ancient symbol into a bedtime story of unity and resilience. These moments stitch the monarchy into our shared human fabric. They remind us that behind every crown is a hand reaching out to lead, to comfort, to inspire. So what was your favorite moment? Was it Charles's emotional pause as he passed on the crown? Catherine's heartfelt speech that bridged centuries of history in a few carefully chosen words? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove royalty isn't just about titles, it's about people and the power of the moments they create. Because make no mistake, the House of Windsor is writing a new chapter, and it's one written not in marble, but in heart.